Not a big deal.
Look,
Yeah.
2 words for you. Capra Demon.
Oh yeah, Capra Demon
They
from
have
Dark
never
Souls.
done that before.
Well, they never again. You mean never again?
No, they will never do that again. Like me.
That
That's
No,
literally
I know the Capra Demon.
Yeah.
I know
I love that the moment I said that, he got like heat sweats.
The first time during the fog gate, and then he's already there, and it's like now afterwards, after you die, because that's apparently their purpose is to kill you once. You run up the stairs and then you drop on them, and it becomes an easier fight. But damn, yeah, I hope they don't do that again.
They haven't done that again.
To be fair, that was that Dathomir? I think that's the name of the planet, Dathomir. That's the first planet where I've actually seen that. And I know I was attacking a base, and this guy was literally egging me on. That was standing at the door before the very first Purge Trooper, and there was a guy off to the side. That one I could almost appreciate because he was playing like decoy, and I'm okay with that one. On Dathomir, it's completely different because it's like every guys, even when you force push them, they just put their spear into the ground, which was cool the first time. Now it's just like, okay, bullshitter. Come on.
It's like when I'm doing Ninja House in Neo. It's like it's cool when you go into like a room and you see one ninja and you're like, oh, I'm gonna bum rush him, and then 2 other ones come out and you're like, oh, I should have thought about this more. But then like after a while, you just get to a point that you're like, okay, I'm gonna walk in with the gun. Oh, look, a spider on the ceiling. Better shoot it. Oh, look, another spider on the ceiling. Better shoot it. Like, it's to a point that you're like, come on, enough, enough.
Except the spiders shoot at you and then they explode.
And you're like, cry, cry, cry.
And then when they explode, their kids come out and then ambush you.
I don't like that. I don't like the imagery. Stop.
Oh yeah, like the one spider that just pounced me out of nowhere.
You mean Dave, the guard spider, the security spider?
Yeah, the sentry spider. Sentry spider.
Oh god, no, that doesn't even sound fun.
Oh yeah, he killed me too. I wasn't expecting it at all. But whatever. I'm gonna try it on easy so we can get through it, and then there's a couple games that I really want to play, especially Control, because I'm like the Alan Wake guy. I played Alan Wake like 3 times, and I played the second less popular one that was just an Xbox arcade game, but that was still good to me because I think Alan Wake was good. And I even played their next game, which I can't even remember the title of it. I just Ice X-Men. It was live action. I don't know why.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, and Littlefinger was the bad guy. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Quantum Break. It's Quantum Break. So I played Quantum Break too, and yeah, so I have to play Control. So I need to get to Control before like Game of the Year stuff starts happening, which we're gonna talk about later in the episode.
Yeah, like you know what? I'll just save it for that because
yeah,
the only reason I want to play that game is because I've never seen the title pop up so many times.
like you could say that they got control of the situation.
Wow. And with that being said, we're gonna take a look at the new games that are coming out from Pearl Abyss?
Oh yeah, Pearl Abyss. So I had no clue what Pearl Abyss was. I only know that I played Black Desert a couple months ago with Indy, my girlfriend, and Jamal, one of our friends here from behind the scenes. But we all fell off after like a couple days, and then never heard about it again. So then Pearl Abyss went ahead and started dropping all these trailers, and we're like, oh my god, wait a second, what's happening? Because all the games to me look like finally the first like real indicator of next gen. Maybe the first indicator since like maybe Halo 6 was announced, or Halo Infinite. But these games look so pretty. But are we going to cover Alex first, actually?
Yeah, I actually have the first one here. Let's get this trailer going so you guys can looking at.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Oh my god.
I'm waiting for the transitions.
I'm like getting excited because for the first time, like Valve can count to almost 3. And it's
oh yeah. Well, this is not Valve, this is plan
I know.
8.
I know.
Yeah, but we're committing. We're committing to the meme. Let's keep going.
Let's commit to the meme.
I just wanted to commit to the meme.
So Planet 8 was the first game, and well, at least the first game I saw from the other day. It looks like a mix of The Surge, if The Surge was also like Resident Evil at the peak of an outbreak, and if they all wore like the exosuits from the last couple of Call of Duties, because like this looks like everyone's got a Modern Warfare exosuit, while there are deer that have like machine gun turrets on.
plus parkour. It's like a weird mix of like Cyberpunk and Dying Light.
Yeah, Dying Light was the other game I was thinking of. It looks like such a mishmash of everything, but it still looks cool to me.
In a good way, though.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes here that, like, the whole thing of assassinating somebody like that, by the way, which is the little, like electronic, like piano wire. This guy jumping out the window and, like, just like, oh, here, I have wings now. All that stuff looks really cool. Now, at the same time, I get it. These are cutscenes. They're supposed to get us excited. Like, much of this playable stuff, you know?
They say this is actual in-game, and I think they do that to trick people that wouldn't know better, because these are cutscenes. These are actual in-game cutscenes that are running on the engine, and it looks nice. You told me before the stream that this is single player, which gives me some hope, but I'm really shaky about anything from Pro Abyss. I was gonna say Pro of the Abyss. Accident. Get their name wrong. That's how mad I am at them.
Yeah, and also, like, the Planet 8 name is just such a weird name, like, but this is an MMO.
Oh, this one's an MMO. Okay, so I gotta...
They're all MMOs. What we're going to talk about...
They're all MMOs, really?
Yeah. Technically, they're all MMOs. This one, according to the Pearl Abyss Direct, there wasn't any single-player campaign on this one specifically, but it's co-created by the people who work on Counter-Strike, which to me, you get bonus points for being associated with Counter-Strike. And so I'm hoping that at least the gunplay has a satisfying enough loop to hook you, kind of like the way Destiny did, but hopefully follow through on the story and not fire half your core team, like your composer, director, before the game comes out. Because, I mean, we could complain about the Koreans. American studios do the best things either for their people or for the fans. So,
well, the reason why I'm complaining is because their big game for a long time was Black Desert, and there was a lot of controversy, pay to win problems where basically you could buy cash shop items and resell them in the real, like, how do I put this? You buy cash shop items and then you go on the market board and you sell them in game for tons of cash. There is a reason why tons of MMOs do not allow you to do that, because that breaks your economy. That also gives a stranglehold to the players that actually have money. And if I remember correctly, like, you could buy end game gear in that game, so you could just imagine the prices people were demanding and how impossible it became for someone who was a normal player. They've had a slew, and I mean a slew, of bad events. Like, they do not know how to make events at all. Like, one that they had in March is basically a voting event where you pick tell the truth or lie, and it's up for 7 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the kicker. If you guessed correctly, like you answered correctly, which is basically being in the majority of people who either pick truth or lie, you get something. If you didn't, you don't get anything. And there's a title for getting it right all 7 days. They show you no metrics until the day after, which is pointless. And that's an actual event. And I'm like, your games look so pretty, and I could tell that you put a lot of work into it, but why did you make an event like that?
I mean, but maybe they learned from their mistakes. Like, you know, it was a thing that happened once, and, like, I'm loading up the trailer now for the second part of that game, Crimson Desert, because the first one was Black Desert.
Crimson Desert, I think, is going to be something different. I don't think it's the second part.
Oh no, it's not a second part.
Yeah, it's not. I thought when we were watching it was gonna be a second part, but it's not. It's something different. Continue. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, I was gonna say because it could be possible that maybe they're learning from their mistakes. But then again, I'm under the impression that this was a part, like a continuation or like a part two.
So
But
let's
it
talk about
it, it,
this.
it kind of scares me though because if these are all MMOs coming from the same developer, like I don't know, man.
Well, they're a studio. They can have different developers under the same studio. That's fine because, like, for example, like I guess the most popular example, the most successful example, uh, are Respawn. They just did Jedi Fallen Order. It's a completely solid game. They dropped a big ass game like Apex Legends out of nowhere. That's now like literally head for head with Fortnite essentially, and they've dropped 4 games this console generation, and they've all scored 85 or higher on Metacritic. So it can be done, Um, but I think with this gave me a false sense of what they're trying to do because this feels like a whole universe worthy of a Witcher scale RPG, just like a single player thing.
I was literally
Yep.
thinking the same thing the first time I saw this trailer. Like this literally looks like if you were to grab The Witcher and just turn it into an MMO.
Yeah, with like even more of a community focus around the characters because there are giants and there are orcs. Those are two things you don't really see in Witcher. There are these beasts which are very significant in The Witcher. You got this guy that looks essentially like Jon Snow
Mm-hmm.
leading this ragtag group of mercenaries apparently. And the cool thing about this one is that when you like actually go and see the Pearl Abyss Direct, they're telling you that there's a full-fledged single-player campaign and then a separate MMO. I don't know how that's going to work. I almost wish they would just focus on making this single-player thing because, man, it has so much potential. This takes everything I really enjoyed when the trailer for like Greedfall this year, and even for what I played on Greedfall, and it just elevates it to like this almost like Hollywood-esque level of like
Yeah.
polish. It's kind of insane.
No,
On-
I really like the creativity of the monsters too. Like, dude, this gives me weird God of War vibes.
Yeah, even like a little bit of Monster Hunter with the dragons sweeping
Yeah.
in and the guy on a horse.
What I was gonna say is like the only way that I could kind of like this as an MMO is either it's only to hunt big monsters. Like every once in a while, you go online, you join up with people, you hunt big monsters in your big ragtag group of a bunch of random adventurers. They do the Guild Wars 1 approach where you have like a PvE mode where that's just story mode, right? But then you have maybe a PvP mode that puts you at max level, gives you good gear, lets you have all these skills. You get me? And so you can test them out and just fight people and have fun. I can see it working like that. But honestly, I was really hoping this was single player because this is the only trailer that they have that I'm interested in. It's the only one, and it's neat. I love Scandinavian folklore, which that's what it seems to be like pulling from, which is why the monsters look so unique because we usually get Japanese or
Yeah.
traditional fantasy stuff.
That's actually why I got the God of War vibes because the last God of War was Nordic.
Mm-hmm. And that's neat. And like honestly, I was kind of interested in the story, even though they say a whole bunch of generic lines like only a person who's gone through winter and heat and stuff like that, and oh you'll starve through winter then. I'm like, those some generic fantasy lines there, my dude. But I'm a
Yeah.
big sucker for knights. I'm a big sucker for this kind of stuff. So I'm like, maybe, but also I don't trust you. So
You
I'm
know
like,
what? I prefer these generic lines than the generic lines that they fed Peter Dinklage in Destiny when he played the Ghost. And oh, the moons are walking.
Either way, though, I have to go back to that though. Like the voice acting is tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something I want to point out because like yes, generic line, but almost generic like the way everyone sucks up to the Mandalorian for saying those are good odds. I like those odds. Like
Mm-hmm.
the The Mandalorian is just a whole bunch of crappy one-liners that everyone just eats up.
Hey, stop.
Mm-hmm.
It is the way. Stop.
I have spoken.
It is the way.
That's
This
not
is
a
the way.
toy.
That's not a toy. Proceeds to unscrew little bulb. Here you go, kid.
Proceeds to eat frog.
Yeah, right?
Frog.
What do you guys think of Plan 8?
I think Plan 8, like I was saying, like, if they can get a nice rinse and repeat kill thing going on with, like, the way Destiny has it, because Destiny is still addictive for that cycle. The kill, use abilities, repeat thing. It just works. Everything around it doesn't, but that part works. So if as long as they get that, I mean, I'm going to give it a chance. Now everything else has to come together too. I've played something like the Division 2. The Division 2, I kind of had a little bit of a vibe watching that as well, for the way that, like, they were undercover and then all of a sudden all these guys started rushing in. That was a lot of the things you did in the Division, was just like holding off a point. Now if you have to hold off the point against like robot sentinel things, that changes the tune a little bit. I'm just wondering how much of this is actually action, and at what point does this, like, all this freedom of movement that they show in the trailer get reduced at the cost of, hey, we were too ambitious, so you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't actually wall run in melee.
I can see
things like that.
I'm so sorry. I can see the wall running, right? What I can't see is, you know how, like, the dude got behind the car door, used it as a shield, and then threw it at the enemy, and you're like, wow, I want to do that. I want to rip stuff off of my environment and throw it. I'm gonna bet money that that's not available. I'm gonna bet money that's cutscene only.
Because, like, I don't know if you guys remember a game called Prototype. Like, Xbox 360. Like, that game I felt was, like, super ambitious. And you were able to do things that I didn't think were possible at the time. Like, I can see half of these options becoming available. I mean, I don't see every wall being able to, like, wall jump, but I do see, like, maybe flat walls or certain cars that are angled up like that you'd be able to do and pull some moves like that.
I mean, I'm doing it right now, and so the whole, like, wall running thing, I hope that, because Respawn's kind of got the market down on that one, so maybe you can just learn. But yeah, I kind of see what Ari's talking about. Like, some things look too good to be true, and, like, if those things were really moving at the speed they were in the trailer, do you really have a shot at winning that fight?
You're gonna have to go melee and just spam. You're just gonna literally, that's what you're gonna have to do. Or they're gonna have to give you a lot of defensive options. Like, that one guy has, like, a weird knife thing that comes out that just slashed an enemy that came towards him like butter. Like, if they give you stuff like that, maybe, but then wouldn't it be boring because you're literally just sitting there shooting and, oh no, he got too close. Butter knife, deploy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do just want to add one thing. I don't know if it's going to be controversial or not, but having seen, like, the last 2 trailers, like, I'm not really, like, that excited for this one. Kind of like Plan 8 kind of reminds me of the first game that we saw. Half-Life Alyxa?
We didn't see the first one.
We didn't. You just threw it up, but we weren't talking about it.
Oh.
I saw it in the corner of my eye. I was like, I'm going to let that roll because I like looking at it. But we were so balls deep in the other game. Oh.
Yeah, we started with Pro Abyss, and we're like, we're just going to let it roll. And then
I mean,
you're tired.
Let me pull up. I'm not drunk. Let me pull up the trailer just so we can show the audience. But, like,
so, by the way, we were talking about companies asking for a lot. This is kind of asking for a lot. You're asking us, for the most part, because you're asking a lot of people who are on PC to, hey, you have to get a VR now to enjoy the next step of Half-Life. And yeah, this is between 1 and 2, but it's not all the way. It's like they're kind of like teasing that there's a final act that leads to the third game, maybe.
So there we got the trailer. We got the trailer up.
Okay. Yeah, so
you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, it's very, like, cyberpunk-ish-esque shooter. with less parkour.
Hilariously smooth, by the way. Like, ridiculously smooth. The smoothest trailer ever. And it makes sense because in VR you have to see things at 90 hertz at least. But I'm guessing that they even upscaled this to like 120 hertz.
Probably.
Even if your monitor can't catch it, you can kind of catch it through the animation of some scenes. There's a lot going on here that you have to like. First of all, the most important thing is that Half-Life is back.
Yeah,
but then
right?
we have to go back to the VR thing.
They can almost count to 3. Oh my god. Maybe we'll see a Left 4 Dead 2.5 soon.
I love the mechanic that they showed where you can pick up the gun kind of just by like pointing your hand at it versus having to actually pick it up. And I thought, or that's how they're going to get around like all this stuff. But look how he loads the gun. Look how like he like had to sift through stuff on the shelf to pick up that shell. Like even the parts where like you have to like put your hands up, is that part of it, or is that just a game going into a cutscene? So there are things to like, and then there's also a pretty obvious thing that VR is not for everyone, and it's going to be a shame that you're not going to be able to play this in something that's not VR. And also taking into account, if you're really a Steam fanboy, the Valve Index is a $800 piece of hardware. There's a $1,000 set that comes with extra stuff, including a prepaid copy of this game. $1,000 is a steep price to pay for Half-Life, man. And it's not even coming to console, because if not, I mean, then the PlayStation VR would be an option, but it's not. It's PC only, so.
Right. No, and it's exclusively being put up through Steam VR.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder about like other headsets too, especially now that there are cheaper headsets that actually do pretty well, like the Oculus. Like, are those going to be in play? Are you?
Wait, so you're saying that you're thinking the Oculus and like the HTC headsets, it's not going to be compatible?
I feel like HTC might get by, but HTC is also like that premium headset, but they don't have allegiances. But Oculus definitely does on the Facebook end. So I don't know if Facebook and Steam really talk to each other, or if they have a relationship. Because if they don't, and let's be honest, if Gabe wants, Gabe will say no. I just don't know yet. At the same time, they're also saying that this game RX 480. So minimal hardware, maybe you don't need like the strongest thing in the world. But I haven't seen anything to clarify as far as like what VR headsets you can play on. And even when I go into the websites and stuff, they only talk about what your PC needs to be, not what your headset needs to be. So,
well, I would assume that your headset only needs like a certain like refresh rate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's a VR headset, it automatically has a 90 hertz. It might not look great, especially if you have like first gen stuff. But is it going to be compatible for this game? Is it going to force you into like upgrading? Imagine if you already had a VR headset and you have to upgrade. That would suck. Or imagine being me with a PlayStation VR headset and I can't use it for this.
What were you gonna say, Rihanna? I feel like we cut you off.
There was a few things. First off, I was gonna joke because you said 2.5, and I immediately thought of Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, so Left 4 Dead's gonna open with "When you walk away,
oh my god!"
Everything.
So we're gonna
get zombies running.
We're gonna get Half-Life 2.5 remixed, rebirth, re-sleep coded.
And it's just the main character in Nomura's art style walking with the Keyblade gun.
Oh my god.
But the other thing is, I feel like this is coming out because, one, they're getting outside pressure. Valve is finally getting some outside pressure. Also, their last like kind of original game, Artifact, did not do well, and it's still not doing well at all. So it kind of feels like this is like the panic button. Like they're finally gonna release something of Half-Life, but they're not committing to a 3. They wanna keep it like that. Not revealing the specs feels very much like not revealing the specs, not revealing what headset you're gonna need feels very much like they are still discussing and seeing what can work and what can't. Because this comes out March 2020. That's pretty far away. So,
And the
but
only
they
thing
gotta
that it
release
says,
it soon.
and the only thing that it says right at the end, when it says like compatible hardware, it just says VR and Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to system requirements, the bare minimum. Ryzen 5 1600 gig RAM, i5 500 with the same amount of RAM, and a 1060 or a 580. So they've actually upgraded their minimum requirements for Alex. So that's actually new because there was a different page here that had a minimum, and the minimum was a 480 at the time. So they've actually updated that to a 580. I'm guessing for the VRAM being different generations. But I think they're both DDR5 as well. Who knows? You have a 480, right, Ari?
Me? I think so, but I have AMD, I think. I don't have... Let me go
Yeah,
look at what my
AMD's
thing is.
RX.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't know anything about computers. They make it, they give it to me, I go, I like, thank you. 14 runs, beautiful. Thank you for this gift, Sky God.
I mean, even at that point, like that's kind of weird that they actually bumped up the minimum requirement. But whatever. I'm not going to stress out about too much yet because we're still, and
Still far out, yeah.
they're calling March. I'm calling it delay.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm calling it delay.
I'm calling it March of 2021.
All right.
That's it.
So
all right, cool.
That was, I mean, we had to address that because honestly, this next trailer, going back to the Pearl Abyss stuff.
Shadow Arena.
No, not Shadow Arena. We gotta watch the dumb Pokemon one so we can complain. Oh
That's
no,
the
Shadow
last
Arena
one.
is next.
That's the last
No.
one. That's the last one.
I want to complain
spoils.
about the Pokemon.
No spoils.
Okay.
So
Whichever
Shadow
you
Arena.
want, honestly.
Let me put it
So
up.
Shadow Arena. So if you are a Desert Online fan, Black Desert Online fan,
A deserter, if you will.
If you like dumping money into an MMO,
A deserter, if you will.
a deserter,
if you wanted a Black Desert Dissidia, this is the game that you want. This is essentially Black Desert Dissidia.
Oh my god, that dude coming out of that portal looks so bad. Oh my god.
Like, a lot of this looks pretty bad. Like, this looks like very free MMO texture quality. This reminded me of Terra. I saw this and I'm like, Terra 2, finally? Also, fun fact, I think that Black Desert Online has, like, PvP already anyways. So this just feels like PvP again. But now you pay us again to play as Ninja Kawaii Girl. And she does cool stuff. And then winner, chicken dinner.
Did you see that dude? He just disappeared into the ether. You saw that?
Yep.
Like, I got blocked! Like...
I mean, none of this looks great, but I do like the concept of doing something more martial arts based with a battle arena thing or even a battle royale setting.
Mhm.
I tried stuff in the past that just didn't feel right, and even the shooters, there's only one or two that really work. So I kind of want this to be successful because I kind of want to get to the point where you can have something like
Dynasty Warriors Arena.
Yeah, you can have something like Dynasty Warriors Arena Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
I do like this form of the death circle though, like that wall.
Mm-hmm.
That like everything just turns pitch black. To me, it looks a lot more menacing than like the invisible blue walls of Fortnite, or even like the firewall from Battlefield, because the firewall is just like impossible to see through.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like their artistic choice in making everything just black in there.
Like a corruption almost, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, the corruption's coming, I gotta get out.
Like a shadow.
Like a Shadow Arena.
Whoa, that's the name of the game, guys. Good
Wow.
job, everybody. I'm proud of
Crack
you.
the code.
Wow, I thought you guys were talking about Soul Calibur.
Oh, eyeballs and
shade.
swords eventually.
Throwing shade. It's just Soul
Nothing's-
Calibur.
Nothing says Soul Calibur like an eyeball in your sword.
You know what? That's true because anytime there's a trailer and I just see an eyeball and a sword, I go Soul Calibur. I'm calling it Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur
Yeah.
8,
Soul
7,
Calibur.
10.
Although I'm embarrassed to say that I still want the damn game because Geralt is in it now, and so is 2B. So,
I mean that ass. I mean,
yeah, Geralt, right?
yeah. Actually, yeah. I actually. Hey. Let me tell you something. My friend made me play it because he goes, Geralt is the anime boy that you like every single time, and I'm like, no, he's not. So it's playing it, intense sweating. Oh no, problems.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have another person I like.
You should have seen her face when I told her that The Witcher was coming to Game Pass next year.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, and all the DLC. Oh yeah.
Maybe I can play a playthrough that isn't cursed. Have I told you about my cursed Witcher adventures with the dragon that came out of nowhere? The dude that teleported to his seat, then got up to kick my ass.
I've had my Roach, my version of Roach, literally like do like these grinds on the rails road. It was like a sick moves, Roach, sick moves.
Oh my god! And this leads
Trust
us
me,
to our final trailer. Dokemon. I mean Doke. I mean not Pokemon. Dokev. Dokev.
Whatever. Doka 5. Yeah, Doki definitely rhymes with Pokey, and this is Poka shit.
Yep.
I thought you said took a shit. This is took a shit.
This is the one. This is the one that they showed off. That I'm like, this is the one that's going to be heavily monetized. I can feel it in my bones. I just feel them releasing some cool monster and being like, pay us $15.
I just hate it because
cool.
the art's cool. Like the art's cool, the graphics are cool.
I mean, it just looks like slightly better polished version of like Splatoon. Let's be honest.
Like the kids look weird. Like they look really, really weird because they look like they made adults and just went shorten limbs. Like something about that just looks off. I don't like it. And then like part of me is interested because this world looks cool and I like love like I'm gonna go skateboarding around town and capturing all these yokai Pokemon ghosts.
I love having these monsters as like little stickers in my backpack that I just throw out.
Exactly.
But yeah, but then why do they run alongside him? And then why does the skateboard turn into a car later on?
Also, how does she get that far without her glasses?
Also, it's like every adult. Also, let me put it this way: like, is every adult this size? Because we see some people later on that are bigger, but there's clearly small people having adult jobs, and it's confusing. Also, this is very confusing. This just feels like give us money. You want your room to look nice and not a cardboard box. You give us money now, plus.
You know what I feel? You know what's the worst thing about like when you watch this trailer and you see all this customization? This could have very easily been like with Pokemon. They could have been like, "Hey, yeah, you can go to a shop after you look like a broke bee, and then just go and redesign yourself because your mom, even though you look poor as shit, somehow has 30,000 credits to give you." Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. That was a jarring part of Pokemon, by the way. But this is what I feel like they if they took that angle, we'd be as like disgusted as we are for like watching this trailer. And then they go and attack this thing that has cone rockets because
And then Luigi's Mansion vacuum.
Yeah.
Like literally, look at the squad. You have a panda with like you have a fucking pineapple. That dude's a pineapple bear. I don't care.
You have a panda Balrog. Or a panda Dudley.
You have the mini Kool-Aid man.
And then the best one, the rubber duck with the shower hat coming in for the save.
And the fish. He has a shower hat and a fish.
Yes.
The Psyduck Light.
There he is.
Psyduck Light. Oh, and
I like this.
These like little Digimon vibes things. I dropped my batteries.
And then even though this kid like ruined this kid's fishing trip, he's gonna come help him.
Exactly.
Actually,
okay.
now like rewatching this, you know what it kind of feels like? It kind of feels like because for one reason or another, every damn kid has those damn glasses. So I kind of feel like it's all in their imagination. The sticks
Maybe they're
come to
just
life.
AR.
Oh,
They're
no.
AR goggles.
Those are the VR goggles that you're gonna need to play Half-Life.
No, those would have to be AR though, because they actually go outside. Like, it couldn't be VR.
It could be VR AR. It's their world, man.
No,
Yes.
it's AR because they have to see where they're going. They can't just turn their skateboard into a car.
Polka dot mon.
But maybe they could see it happen, and that makes sense. But just like they can't just fish if they can't actually see the fish.
Well, that dude was doing it.
That dude didn't care. Like I said, this one is the one that I feel like just spend money. Just spend money everywhere, and they're throwing like tons of money. Just do it. Spend it. You want a cute room? Spend money. You want a cute looking avatar? Spend money. You want that cool looking spirit? Give us $15. We'll give you that cool looking spirit. You want the duck in blue? By golly, pay us $5. We'll give you the duck in blue. And I'm like,
You give us $5, we'll give you a quest where you can go grind for 10 missions to get one shade of dye. And then you can bring your duck blue.
Oh, but you need
no.
150 dies.
So now we're mixing Final Fantasy 14 logic in this?
Yeah.
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 You know what? You know what? Speaking of logic, we have to break down the Video Game Awards nominees
That was
because
such a great segue, by the way.
some of these make perfect sense. Some of them do not.
Yeah.
And instead of going from the top down, we're going to go from the bottom up because I don't know why they would think that you would want to vote on Game of the Year first, and like because you would just vote on that and leave. That's my thing. But there's a lot of decent categories this year. Starting with VR AR game. I think personally it's got to go to Beat Saber. It didn't go to them last year, but since then they've added a lot of music packs, including Monster Cat. Shout out to Monster Cat that provides some of our background music when we visit. But I don't know. I do hear great things about Asgard's Wrath, but I still want to give it the Beat Saber because it's the most solid, complete game out of the bunch. No Man's Sky, I just don't think I want to play that.
And I've actually never even heard of Trover Saves the Universe.
Actually, that's from Squanch Games, so that's from the
Rick and Morty?
That's from the Rick and Morty people. They've made other things like that I've played, and it's been pretty funny. But I just haven't been able to dive into this. Also, because they ask for like $30 for these titles, and they're like only 2 hours long, and they kind of like hit one note many times, and it's almost like I'd rather just wait for an episode of Rick and Morty versus like living out some of their joke fantasies through these weird characters I don't really care about.
Yeah.
I get you.
I'll probably give it a Beat Saber too, though. Like that game's a ton of fun, and the music's great.
Yeah, I think you have to be a fan of the genre. It's also a hell of a music rhythm game. It's the best music rhythm game since like Guitar Hero Rock Band came out at first.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And since they've come out, there's been like 4 or 5 games that have dropped specifically on the PlayStation end that have been music rhythm games, and they're just like the worst. Like some of them try to convert into shooters, and you can already tell it's not going to work.
Yeah,
like hit the notes and specific targets.
No, I mean look at Sayonara Hearts. That's another rhythm game that literally. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just it turns into memorization versus rhythm.
They actually show up here later on, so we'll see them
in more than one category actually.
Oh, good. That's actually, you know what? Like I reviewed it. I thought it was decent. Like there are certain things that deserve credit, and music's one of them. So I'm hoping it shows up in music. I just can't memorize all.
They actually show up. Well, I don't want to spoil anything. We'll just move on. So we all agree on Beat Saber for this category.
I mean, I didn't get to talk, but all right, yeah, Beat Saber again.
Wait, I'm sorry.
You both just took control of this conversation. I'm just sitting here like, I mean, to be fair, also like this is one of the categories I can't really talk about because I've only played 2 VR games, Super Hot and Beat Saber.
Super.
Well, there's
So
that.
I gotta vote for Beat Saber. It's the only one I know.
I just feel like No Man's Sky automatically it's an
Yeah.
add-on. It's not an actual full-fledged version of the game. And then Asgard's Wrath and Blood and Truth. Well, I heard really good things about them. Like I need VR titles to go on sale more often because it's hard to compete with full-fledged titles like some of the strategy games that we have coming up on the next line. Like, was I gonna pick up a game I didn't know was gonna be good, like Blood and Truth, Fire Emblem Three Houses? You know,
Right.
I get you.
Of course, I'm gonna pick up Fire Emblem.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like half of this, like just first time looking at this list, gonna make me want to play a couple of games already on this list just because of how many times like they show up.
Yeah, but like, every game here is strong. Tropico is just not my thing. Wargroove, I tried. God knows I tried. I just don't like it. I feel like they should just, let Advance Wars be Advance Wars. This is not Advance Wars enough for me. I need them to go back to that. I know Chucklefish didn't make those games, but I was looking for Advance Wars. I just didn't get it. So, Tropico 6 is whatever to me. Like, I've tried them before. They're okay, but they're not Civilization. Civilization didn't pop up here, but I'm guessing that's because they actually didn't come out this year. They came out last year.
I think it was last year, yeah.
Civ 6 came out last year, yeah. Total War, I'm a big fan of, but they're incredibly hard to run on with like medium hardware. You need to have enthusiast hardware to play these early, or else everything is like it feels like you're playing something back in the day. Like
You're playing a
everything's still,
slideshow.
yeah, it still looks good, but it doesn't look the way that it looked in the trailer. So I give much plaudits to Sega and Creative Assembly for what they do with Total War. And it's really cool that they added another version of the genre with Kingdom because that's always going to be a popular thing. And then Age of Wonders, I know is going to come to Xbox Game Pass soon, so I'm just waiting for that. If it hasn't already, I can look that up when you guys talk. And Anno 1800,
I was literally looking like 20 minutes ago, like right before the stream. Not there.
Oh, okay. But I've seen it on their sizzle reel. I know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And Anno 1800 is just something that Linus from Linus Tech Tips talks about ad nauseum. Every time he tries to benchmark something, it's there. So it's like, okay, I get it.
So for me, I'm gonna give it to Fire Emblem Three Houses because it's the only one that I've played hands-on, and the only other one on this list I've really looked into is Total War Three Kingdoms, and that's just, hey, if you haven't figured it out already, I'm a huge Dynasty Warriors fan. I absolutely love Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors to the point that I like their competitors, Sengoku Basara, a lot. So when I saw Total Wars and it's like, oh man, Lu Bu's in it and all these cool people that I kind of know because thanks Dynasty Warriors, I'm like, I gotta check it out. And I never got around to it. And hearing you say that it runs kind of bad on medium hardware scares me because I know that like my computer is not the most high end, and I've seen some of those battles and I can just feel my PC melting. Like when 100 units are just shooting arrows, I can feel the slideshow coming. But
Yeah.
I'll give it to Three Houses. Three Houses did really good. They did a really big improvement compared to Fates. Fates was awful. Like I love Fates with all my heart, but I'm also willing to admit it's awful, awful, awful game. So for them to come from the ashes like that and make something that was actually good, not sell you every single route as a separate game or whatever, was good. To have all the characters be interesting and actually make me want to go through all the routes and not, oh, I guess I'll go through this person's route because I need the full story. Strong. Strategy. All Fire Emblems have this kind of problem. I'm gonna point this out. Which is early on, unless you're playing like on extremely high difficulty, you steamroll a lot of stuff. And if your characters level up a lot and you get someone that has high crit, you will probably keep up that momentum, no problem. But then late game, when suddenly there's like a ton of units, it suddenly feels like they just jumped the difficulty up a little bit too high because they threw in a bunch of units rather than this actually got harder. And Three Houses still kind of suffers from that a little bit. Also, ambushes in this game suck. They suck. Like, they always suck in every Fire Emblem, but they suck here. I hate this.
Yeah, I'm actually going to reserve my judgment because I really want to wait for Age of Wonders to come out so I can play it, just so that I can see. But right now, I'm just going to go to Fire Emblem, but... Hey.
I'll give it the Fire Emblem. I also want to point out my... because of Warhammer Total War. And I know, like, there's a lot of units in that game fantastical, and maybe that might cause maybe more graphical issues than maybe the 3 Kingdoms version of units, but I've still seen like most people struggle even with like stuff like a 1070 Ti. So yeah.
So we're moving into like esports?
No, we're moving into sports. Yeah.
And then afterwards like all the
I'll blurb about sports really quick. Just like if Crash wins this, it actually will be a good thing. None of the other 4 games deserve it. None of the other 4.
Honestly, I agree with you.
PES doesn't deserve it just for the fact that PES has like 3 teams that are actually licensed, and then the rest are generic trash. And I'm tired of every year wanting to like that game and having to go through so many hoops just to install fake or customized stuff. I applaud the community. I really do. But I'm a soccer guy. I just need shit to work. I'd much rather spend more time figuring out the FIFA 20 realism mod, which I'm actually in the process of trying to figure out, by the way. I'm going to make this happen. But the problem also is whenever EA puts up an update, it kills the realism mod. So I'm kind of waiting on Pfeiffer, the guy who designs it, to post a patch. And then I'm probably going to also have to sign up for his Patreon because he does good work with it, but he also advances copies of his patches to those Patreons. So I'm going to have to do that. But everything else, F1, go to hell. Dirt Rally, go to hell. Racing games, if it's not Forza, don't bother, guys. Like, Forza owns you. End of story.
Like, I'm gonna be honest here. I look at all these and look, I'm not a sports person. I'm really not. But I look at F1 and I'm like, this looks generic as hell. I look at FIFA and I'm like, I think I've seen this like exact picture before last year. I look at the football one, the eFootball Pro, and I'm like, that just looks like they took a real picture and put it there. They don't have a game. It's just pictures of the real event. And Dirt Rally just looks like a generic racing game, and like Crash is the only one I know, so I'd vote for Crash.
Well, my reasoning for Crash also is just this game existed a long time ago, like PlayStation 1, and the hype and the fandom that exists for this game never died. It never died. And so it's now just coming back, and
it's almost like a recognition award for them if they win it. It's
a
recognition of how good they were.
Like,
and how good they still are.
Like even like, so you know how like last year KFC had a game come out, the whole dating sim with the Colonel. This year, KFC held a racing tournament where the fans got to choose which game, and the game that was chosen was Crash Team Racing. And the winner, who just happens to be a famous YouTuber, he won a year's worth of KFC off of a game that like the fans chose. And I can't see a better ending for this game than for it to win the racing game of the year.
Also, I just want to point out something. FIFA is the same shit every year, and so is Pro Evolution. I'm never going to call it eFootball, by the way. Why did they add that? I don't get it. But if these two are the same shit every year, why isn't Rocket League there? Rocket League continues to grow despite it being one game mode. It's going to the Olympics next year.
Right.
And it's not going to change. It's just going to keep... people just keep finding mechanics. stuff didn't exist that exists now 5 years later. They're like jump resets and like triple taps off the backboard. These things didn't exist, and people continue it. It's a sport. It should be a sports game, and it should be here every year if the other games are the same shit every year.
Yeah,
you know,
if not here, at least on like the ongoing set list.
yeah. And I don't know if they had an ongoing game. We'll see, because I haven't made all this. This next category is gonna ruin us.
They had one last year.
mad. No,
Oh
I'm so
God, no!
For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and/or licensed soundtrack,
Can I
your
can I
nominees are
Cadence of Hyrule? That actually kind of deserves it. The remixes are good. Death Stranding, it's radio music because you're walking across America. Devil May Cry 5 has a really hype soundtrack. Kingdom Hearts 3, get out of here with your fan pandering. It's just orchestral remixes of all the old themes. Sayonara Wild Hearts, I've never played, but I have 2 people who have. Take it away.
It's got a fantastic soundtrack.
out of all three of these, I would agree with everything you said. But if you want to disqualify Kingdom Hearts for being remixes, then you also have to disassociate with Cadence of Hyrule for as much as you like it.
That's true.
They're still remixes.
Then Devil May Cry 5, that's fine.
Therefore, you run into the problem of Devil May Cry 5, which is like a heavy metal soundtrack that's not going to turn everybody on. And honestly, I don't know if it's just an age thing, but now I'm 34 and I feel like maybe rock music is starting to die on me a little bit, because we were listening to System of a Down at work today. Still love that stuff, but it felt a little generic from Devil May Cry. I played enough, and I also saw Maddie play through most of it, and I just feel like, yeah, songs were cool, but it wasn't like, oh my god. Sayonara Wild Hearts, their entire soundtrack drives the game, so it should win.
Okay,
Well,
that's
it is the
fair.
game. It's a rhythm game.
It is, but the music's actually good too. What fails that game isn't the music; it's everything else.
It's the
like,
memorization.
It's even the fact that, like, for as good as the music is, they can't do anything with it properly. Like, the beats are off, or they try to associate your rhythm or picking a lane to hit notes with the wrong beats in the songs. Like, I didn't get that part. And per each song, as good as they were, because they had layers and layers on top of it, like, it seemed like they always picked the wrong thing, the wrong rhythm of the song. And so that always threw me off. I was always dying. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, no, and sometimes too, like, I feel like one of the nicest thing about this game are the graphics, like the way the things look. But I feel like it's also one of its biggest downfalls too, because little beats and little things you have to pick up for the songs, like,
Oh yeah,
literally
I
mess
mentioned
you
it.
up.
I mentioned it's like that purple on purple. It's exactly the way this Game Award screen
The
is.
purple on
But
purple.
imagine it traveling at 1,000 miles an hour, and then everything is pulsing from purple to pink.
Yeah.
Like, there was never any differentiation. If they had just changed even like color palettes
No,
for
and
the things you need to collect versus the backgrounds, you would have had a much better time.
And for some of the boss fights as well, like, on top of all of that, the screen would flash white, and in an instant, you had to pick up where you left off. So,
Mhm.
a lot more like memorization than it was rhythm.
Yeah, if you died, you ran into the problem of getting jarred out of your like immersion, and then having to restart. But you're restarting down the same lane, and here's another death because it's
But
too fast.
wait, not to derail you guys, but I do want to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. It's not about gameplay. Whoops, kitty attack. It's not about gameplay. It's 100% about soundtrack. Did you like the soundtrack? Do you think the soundtrack, just the music alone, like, take out everything else that you had with the game, deserves to win?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I much prefer the soundtrack of Sayonara Wild Hearts over Cadence of Hyrule. over
Okay.
Devil May Cry. Definitely over Kingdom Hearts.
We also have to play devil's advocate for Cadence of Hyrule again because
Mm.
that game is a rhythm game and you have to move to the beat of the song. I get it, but another game existed before Cadence, so it's almost like this game was cool enough where we gave this team the right to just use Zelda music to make another version of the same game.
That is kind of what it
Yeah.
is, but it's like I guess what I'm trying to say is like, if this was, you know, sound and gameplay or whatever, then I would understand. But you just have to look at the soundtrack alone. It's the same way that I feel. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
So the cats have dropped the batteries on the floor, and
Okay. I don't know anything you said, but I heard cats and
All I
drop,
heard,
and that's
all I
all
heard was cats drop batteries.
Mm-hmm.
I will say my one thing with Cadence of Hyrule is that it felt more of a nostalgia trip than anything else because it was a remix of like the old The Legend of Zelda music versus like Sayonara Wild Hearts that I felt like it was a lot. Well, everything was new, so it felt exciting.
But that's a good point because like Migs pointed out to me because I kind of crapped on Kingdom Hearts. Like, it's not that I don't like the music. It's just an orchestral version of a song that I heard before. Of course, when I hear, you know, Vector to the Heavens / like Masquerade for the 14th or whatever it's called, I'm gonna cry because it's my favorite theme in Kingdom Hearts. I hate Gion to death, but any form that they release it in, I'm gonna love it, right? But it is kind of lazy that it's like you went and made some new tracks, but you're really banking on the nostalgia factor to bring it all back together, and that doesn't work. And if I'm gonna kind of crap on Kingdom Hearts for doing that, I gotta crap on Cadence of Hyrule too. And you're right, it's not something new. It's the stuff that you already like being remixed to like a dance kind of like music kind of vibe. So really, the only three left is Death Stranding, which you said is like radio music, Devil May Cry, and Sayonara Wild Hearts. And if you guys are willing to vote for that, I'm gonna stick with Devil May Cry 5, but vote for what you think is right. You get me? But just
Yeah.
vote for the soundtrack, not the gameplay.
100%. And plus, also in Cadence of Hyrule, you can turn off the whole music battle thing, and it's just a regular Legend of Zelda game with remixed music on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's that too. But for me, like when I think of score and music, I think of like originality. I think of like what's a set of songs that's going to like make me want to move, make me want to like get excited to do a level. And I don't get that from Cadence of Hyrule. I just get a lot of nostalgia. That's just me.
the next category is also a doozy.
Well, would you look at that? Kingdom Hearts 3!
Which I wanna say this before we even read the people, because we already said Kingdom Hearts 3. For such a lukewarm reaction that game got, with so many people liking it but disliking it at the same time, I'm surprised to see it nominated for role-playing game. I'm really surprised. I'm also surprised at some of the other ones, but take it away. Whoever.
I'm surprised Luigi's Mansion 3 is not a role-playing game.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know. It's not. I'm looking at the list.
Well,
Well, I mean, because it's not though.
the
Not it's
Go,
just
go,
not it's not an RPG.
I know.
He has no skill tree. He has no level ups. Like he collects things, yes, but no.
So the nominees are Disco Elysium, I hope I said that right, Final Fantasy XIV, Shadowbringers specifically, Kingdom Hearts 3, Monster Hunter Iceborne specifically, and The Outer Worlds. So who wants to start this one off? Because I got some spicy stuff to say.
Look, I
First,
no, go. I'll let you take it.
First, let me tell you a little bit about Disco Elysium. This is a game we would all love. We would all love this game. We just haven't played it yet. And so this is a difficult category.
Mhm.
Because that game would literally wreck our thought process on this category. I know you guys would probably stick to your heart and say 14. But Disco Elysium is essentially this D&D style single player campaign where you're this detective who's kind of like burnt out and an alcoholic, and every little thing you do amounts to something, where even there's like skills that tell you, hey, you can be a drunk and you get a bonus for this, but you start like getting a dependency on alcohol and stuff like that. And there are game over there is game over instances where like you can even shoot a baby by accident, apparently.
Oh
So-
no!
What the hell?
So there's really dark and open opportunities to do things in this game. And not just because of the shock factor of it. It's just like it's because you can literally do whatever per where you're at the moment. So I would heavily recommend we try it, because everything I've seen has been really strong for what I've actually played. The Outer Worlds, well, I like the game, but it's not world breaking either.
Mhm.
I have to admit that. It's like an 8 out of 10. But it's not like, oh my god, this
It's
is a
not
great
anything
thing.
you've seen before. It's not
You
anything
haven't-
new. Yeah, it's not anything you haven't seen before.
Yeah,
There
'cause
are
you keep messing up your quotes.
there are things I haven't seen before, especially with the characters and the way they interact with you, and the way that for some reason like the game builds in these things where you can even surprise characters. And so I'm saving that because I know specifically one of the characters in this game, and the actress who played her is up for best performance, and I'm gonna vote for her outright. Like, she deserves it 1,000%. So I'll break that part down later. But I don't know, man. And I wanted to play Iceborne, I really did, but I feel like they took a little too long
It did.
to get there. And I feel like they also fractured the fan base when they took so long to bring it to PC.
Still
And-
not out yet.
It's it's still not out. It's supposed to come out in December for PC.
And
No,
so
January, by the way.
Oh, they pushed it.
they pushed it back. So it's they've separated us twice between console and PC. We can't play with each other. And if Destiny has cross save at this point, you guys have no excuses. Like, if you're a multi-platform game, you need to have cross-platform saves. Like, Divinity Original Sin has cross save between Steam and Nintendo Switch. Do not tell me it can't be done. If you tell me that, you're full of shit.
That's perfect.
Like, so that's what I have to say about that. Until they bring it to PC where I can enjoy my character, my version of Geralt, because everyone made a Geralt. Yeah. But and then Kingdom Hearts 3, just the ending really pissed me off. I won't spoil it because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but
I'm very quick, so I'm just gonna take it. Disco Elysium, never played it, so I can't say anything about it. Kingdom Hearts 3 has a very lukewarm story through and through. It tugs at your nostalgia heartstrings, but it's not done the best way. Monster Hunter World Iceborne, honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. Even though I haven't played it, I'm gonna guess the story. There is a monster destroying a town, and you come to that town as the hunter. It's nothing new. It's nothing game breaking. Like, Monster Hunter never has the best stories. I'm not gonna lie. The Outer Worlds, I've watched you play a good chunk of it, and it looks good, but I kind of agree with you. It doesn't seem to be Game of the Year category. Final Fantasy XIV, I honestly want to abstain from voting because I haven't beaten it. So I can't say what's the hype. And I'm not saying that I need to get through all of the patches to see, what is it good. I just mean the main story that they originally crafted out of the box for Shadowborn. Is it Shadowborn? No,
Shadowkeep?
not
It's
Shadowkeep.
It's
Oh,
Shadow.
no, that's Destiny.
Shadowbringers.
See, Destiny
Yeah.
had Shadowkeep. You guys have Shadowbringers.
So we haven't beaten the out of the box story for Shadowbringers, so I can't say.
Well,
Like, I want.
to stop you right there. The category for this is not best story. The category is best role-playing game. So games that offer a rich player customization and massive multiplayer experiences. which
Oh.
we've been playing Final Fantasy 14 for a very long time, and I don't think it's the amount of time that we've played. It's just I feel like that's the game that fits this category the best.
Look, this year, Final Fantasy 14, with me not playing Shadowbringers because I didn't get to that level. But I know Shadowbringers came out. I've watched you guys every single time you get on. The game looks fantastic. It's their best expansion that they've made since the core game got relaunched. And then on top of that, they drop the most fan servicey Nier Automata like thing in there. And that looks amazing too. And apparently that's canon, so I have to get to that because it's canon in the Nier storyline. So I'm done. You know, I gotta give it the 14 because they had the strongest year. If we're talking about, if it's a toss up between them and Monster Hunter, then they get it. If we end up playing Disco Elysium and that overrides your and all the enjoyment it gives you, then great. But I wouldn't be shocked if Elysium gets it before we even get to try it because it's only 2 weeks away, this award show. So
yeah, leave a comment down below if you guys want to see us play Disco Elysium.
A Disco Elysium playthrough where you guys make the choices. Don't shoot the baby though. I won't.
Bro, if we end up shooting the baby, I'm not playing the game anymore.
Oh wow! Look, performance was actually next line. I didn't know that. I promise. And so the obvious, I mean, honestly, this was pretty obvious who was going to get like nominated, except for like one or two. So Ashley Burch's Parvati from Outer Worlds is my hands down. She deserves an award more than anything else on this list. Deserves an award. What a fucking performance! I fell in love with her. I fell in love with Parvati. I didn't want to take her off my team. When you talk to her, and she just had this like innocence to her that she was able to purvey so well. Like, and then being able to surprise her by bringing her over to other characters and be like, "Oh yeah, Parvati just had a question," and she's like, "Wait, what? I didn't know you were gonna put me out there like that," you know. And then this really, really endearing of her core storyline that you can choose to play or not, but it's essentially her falling in love with another female character in the game, and then taking her to a bar and having her get drunk off of only like one drink, and then having to convince her that she needs water so she doesn't get a hangover. Like, and look, I played this 4 weeks ago, and this is still all fresh in my mind. That's how emotionally connected I am to her body. The moment I killed her owner, so to speak, because you can pretty much do anything in that game. You can either side with somebody or kill them. I killed somebody literally outright instead of letting him walk away. And she freaked out. She freaked out. And she made me feel like crap. And even when I was going to make a decision very early on in the game, she's like, "Do you really understand the weight of your decision that you're about to make?" And she's like trying to talk you out of pretty much doing it at all. It's like, don't make a choice. Just be like, "Hey, you guys figure it." And I feel like that's one of the playthroughs I want to do if I go back to like a complete passive playthrough where I don't have to make too much of a choice except for that last choice.
Dude, I still remember the 20-minute car ride that we had where the only thing we talked about was how
her.
Crazy was her. It was how crazy like she reacted when you killed her owner.
Yeah. When I killed Reed and I gave her the top hat and she even said something about it when she was wearing the top hat. She's like, "Doesn't feel right at all." I'm like, oh my God, even that. I know they had to write that in, but the way she delivered, it was just like, oh. I played enough of Gears 5 to tell you that where I appreciate Laura Bailey and I appreciate Kate, I don't want Gears 5 to be that type of game, so I disassociate myself with her. I feel like it's something that's being forced on me. It's not something that organically fell in my lap like Parvati did. I was talking to Reed, and Reed's like, "You know, Parvati here knows a lot about stuff, and you can choose whether to take her or not." And those are the type of things they let you do in like games that empower you. Where I have to give credit to the Outer Worlds and give them credit because it's like I could dismiss them whenever I want, send them back to my ship, even tell them I don't want to deal with them anymore, and like I think actually disband them from the group, the core group.
As much
but
as
Kate, I have to play as her.
I was gonna say this.
Nightmare.
I'm going for Ashley Birch or Laura Bailey. Not so much for the whole Gears 5 thing, but the whole more like they are both huge game board game fanatics, like board game fanatics. They both appeared on tabletop. One of them occasionally appears on Critical Role. I want to almost dismiss Norman just because, though the lines are fantastic, from what I can tell from Maddie's playthrough, he just played himself. Like, I didn't know the difference between Sam Porter and the character that he played on The Walking Dead. He literally just played himself. I don't know if that could be considered voice acting. Obviously it is, but I'm just saying, for the sense of the performance category.
In Mads just comes off as a fucking weirdo in that game. He's just weird. I look at the baby. I love my baby. Other scenes where he's like his face is in the water and comes up and he's leading a group of soldiers, and it's just, he does it well. I'm not gonna say he doesn't act it out well, but do you really need to act that out all that much if you're covered in all sorts of shit and you got all the CGI around you to make you look menacing? Not that much.
Yeah.
Parvati had no such thing. Like, she was just there. She just was. And when she was there and she was in the, you paid attention to nothing around you. It was just her and those weird, like some of the animation in that game is really creepy, like in a fantastic way though. Like some of the eyebrow raising stuff, and the half smiles, like, and even like the nervous smiles. Like, she hit all those, and they hit all those with her tone. I don't think that like another person could have hit the tone the way she did for her. It was just like this youthful innocence, borderline on ignorance to what's happening around her, but something you still wanted to protect and care about. It's weird. The only thing that will break this for me is if Control is really a masterpiece, and we're going to find that out in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's one of the games that I actually wanted to play because, like I said, they appear so frequently on these lists.
Yeah, Control shows up everywhere. And I feel like the Death Stranding stuff, for as, like, I guess as polarizing as it is, I'm surprised. And
go.
I don't want to, like, what's the word? I don't want to make Jeff Keighley look like he's just his best friend, and these nominations are partially that, but it might be that, honestly. Like, hey, look how great this game is. Like, all friend made such a great game, and all his actors are.
Ariana and I were literally just having that conversation before we streamed this.
No, because this is what I told you. So the thing about Death Stranding to me is that it's one of those. If this was a movie, you would call it a art house movie, a movie that appears to be extremely deep on the surface, like extremely deep and thought provoking, and watching it makes you like, I don't know how to explain it, gives you clout, you get me? That's what kind of like Death Stranding comes across to me. It's not that it's a bad game. It's a very middle of the road, polarizing game, but if you've played it, you feel like you have like I said, you get that false sense of clout. So I kind of feel like it's on here so much because it is like almost an art house game. Like it's an art piece more than like a game. Does that make sense? You don't like playing Mailman?
You don't like playing Mailman?
No, I don't. And I don't know. That's the way that it comes across to me. It just feels like a very art piece game. It feels like something that you can easily like slip in here and nobody's gonna really blink an eye because you just think of like all the people that are putting this up here and you go, yeah, of course they put this, you know?
I really wish Patty was here to provide a different context, and she will next week. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I know. Let's move on to the next category. Best
Yeah,
ongoing game.
We can start rapid firing these. I'm disappointed in an ongoing game because, again, Rocket League's not there. They had one of the most emotionally entertaining tournaments of all time for an esport, as Peeps upset literally everyone. The Peeps was a team that didn't exist before this tournament, and they came out of nowhere. They came together, a team of 3 kids, and they upset G2, which I watched all those guys individually, and they couldn't overcome the Peeps in a 4-3 best of 7 classic. And they did that in the semifinal too against the defending champions. And it's just I don't get it. I don't get it that they're not here. It's really disappointing.
Well, because go.
For all the same reasons I stated before, Final Fantasy XIV should win Best Ongoing Game because they've added the most. Destiny 2 gets a little bit of credit for separating themselves from Activision, but they're not there yet. Maybe this year will be the year that they get their ongoing game actually moving. But they only kind of rolled out their plan now. They went free to play, they added their stuff. Apex, I mean, full credit to Respawn, but they really messed up with some of the microtransaction stuff during their last event. And so I've kind of fallen off all the way.
And is that really Respawn's fault, or is that EA's fault?
I want to say a little bit of A and B, because Respawn kind of saved EA this year with these 2 titles that they dropped between Apex and Star Wars. And I feel like Zampella needs to continue to push the envelope where EA doesn't control them as much. And maybe there's clauses in their contract where if they do good enough, they can own themselves again, like Bungie did against Activision. That's the only thing I can hope for, because really, if not, then Zampella deserves to be the EA gaming director sometime in the very near future. Give him the reins, let him drive the company from the gaming division perspective, because he knows what he's doing. He's been doing it since Modern Warfare. And if you give him a chance, he's going to keep pumping out these 85-plus rated games and impressing a whole lot of people for you. Just let him have it.
Yeah. I'm also going to give it a Final Fantasy. There's a little bit of bias in there, but honestly, this whole Nier thing, it's not the first time that Final Fantasy does something like this.
No, they did with Monster Hunter too, right?
I was literally just about to bring that up. Yep. And you can have him as a mount. I literally have the little cat companion as my pet.
Yeah, imagine having the Palico and fighting a Rathalos. Hours later, you're fighting one of the God, I forgot what they're called in Nier, those giant robot dudes. I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I know what you're talking about though. No, but it's and it's not just that, but it's also adding the mechanics to go along with it. In that fight, you're literally limited. You heal by heal potions. You're limited by how many you can use. It's fantastic.
So here's the thing that I wanted to say. So the thing that you got to remember for ongoing game, this is more thanking the development team. And honestly, on this list, I don't care who's on it. 14 has been doing so great by us since the beginning. They've always tried to be transparent. They have live letters practically almost every month or every week where they talk about stuff. They released a long time ago. They released Ninja mid-patch, and someone asked them straight up, "Are you gonna release other classes mid-patch?" And instead of lying and being it's a possibility, but we don't see it, they straight up said, "No, releasing this almost killed the development team, so we can't do this again." And I have extreme respect for someone who's willing to be honest with you. I have extreme respect for anyone that's willing to take this game that was broken and really not that great and make it into something better and continue to do right by us by bringing good crossover events. We had Garou for a long time, which was an anime where you can get the armor, you can get the horses. It sadly went away with this new patch, but it had been there since Heavensward launched, I think, or close to it. So that's been there for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's insane. They do so much that they do right, and it's
No.
like I think they deserve it. I think the development team really deserves it.
Not only that, like, so a few years back when Miguel and I went to E3, like, I got to meet Yoshi P, the freaking director of Final Fantasy 14.
Mm-hmm.
Just the amount of passion that he has for this game is insane. Like, this man shows up and he literally just like watched like hundreds of fans play his game, and he was like, he could barely speak English, and the few moments I was like, hey, like, to try to talk to him, he made the effort to try to talk to me, to just say his appreciation for us playing the game. Like, that's so rare to see. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people that are like a lot of development teams that care for these games, but a lot of them are just in it for the money. This guy actually cares about his fans. He actually cares about the people that's playing the game.
I just remembered. This is really quick, so we could jump to the next category. There is a documentary out there. I have to get the name, that goes behind the scenes, and I believe they talked to Yoshi P. And one of the things that Yoshi P talks about was the original developers of 14 got a little too cocky because they assumed that since 11 did well, they can just do it again and it'll be fine. And when that fell through and it fell onto his lap, he's like, I really needed to go out and look at other games and see what they're doing. And that's such a good approach, because you need to know where they're doing good, where they're messing up, what can you take and make better. And just hearing that, like, just maximum respect, Yoshi P. I love Yoshi P so much. Okay, narrative, go. My voice cracked.
It's okay. Yeah. One last thing about ongoing Rainbow Six Siege. I've been watching more stuff on them, but it's more like comedy based stuff. The community is still kind of toxic, and I don't know what to do about that. Like, if you're a new player, you can't get into it, so I don't know how that can really be possible that you're an ongoing game with a toxic community. But whatever. Narrative. This is Disco Elysium creates a problem here, because if it is as dynamic as what I'm saying, and it is because I've seen it, then it really deserves like some consideration. Death Stranding is what we just talked about, being assumedly deep, but probably more shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Shallow enough to make you waste your time watching Norman drink 3 cans of Monster Energy drink instead of just one, because he needs that full stamina boost. A Plague Tale actually intrigues me, because I've been kind of like a Focus fanboy this year, where I played Greedfall, and I'm super interested in jumping on Vampire as well, a game that's on Game Pass right now. And of course, the Surge 2, which has done everything a little bit better than the Surge 1, which makes it a really solid game now. And so I'm interested in actually trying to get some time to play that. But outside of Control that I know I'm going to play, what do you guys think?
If I'm going off of what Ariana said a couple of slides back, I'm gonna have to give it a Death Stranding, just because if it is a art piece, the narrative's got to take it, you know. And just like watching the bits that I've seen from Maddie's playthrough, like, the narrative really does push the game forward.
All right.
For me, Rapid Fire. Honestly, I don't know enough about all of these games to really judge it on narrative. Because if you're going to vote for something like this, I think you need to sit down and at least get 80% of the way. Either beat it, or at least 80% where you're like, okay, I know enough that like I can make a call and say this had a good story, this didn't have a good story. And I'm just not. You get me? Yeah. I know Plague Tale's pretty good. I've just never sat down. Know nothing about Control. Know very little about Death Stranding. Know nothing about Disco Elysium before like 5 minutes ago. And the Outer Worlds, I saw you play on and off just because I'm sleepy. I'm a sleepy girl. Mm-hmm. What can I say? And it's like, I've seen, and it's like, it looks really cool, and I want to play it, but I don't know enough.
To be fair, the strong suit is the writing. I would give it to the Outer Worlds, even knowing what I'm going to get into. So Sam Lake and the team at Remedy, they're Kojima-esque. They're kind of nonsensical. They got some weird stuff going on. Like the whole thing about Alan Wake was almost like he was like a Stephen King type, but he was like reliving his own nightmares. And he had a doppelganger. It was very much like Twin Peaks esque. So a lot of nonsense between all the like interesting stuff. So, and then of course, Focus being the jank that they are, I'm gonna give it the Other Worlds, you know.
Yeah.
Also, because I think Disco Elysium, while being open, also tells me that they like the storytelling and narrative is driven by me, and the Outer Worlds, no matter what path I picked, whether I was going to be an evil bastard one time or really nice another time, I feel like I got enriched by the response. Even having a conversation with a shopkeeper because he had a moon helmet on his head. Like, go back and watch that. I was laughing my ass off because he found every which way to keep the conversation focused on selling me something. No matter how hard I pushed him, it was hilarious. Yeah.
Zablob approves.
Essentially,
Right.
he was that. He was Zablob.
So the next
Multiplayer.
category is multiplayer.
Tetris 99, go bleep yourself. No.
But it's the only free game on this list.
Apex is free. No, not it's free. It's free. Season pass, yes, but free.
I crashed when I loaded it up and I got into my first real match.
Look, it's free the same way that League of Legends is free.
No, you can't
It's
say
actually
that.
free.
Because League of Legends, you have to pay for characters. Like this, you get all the characters. Well, you know what? I actually let me step back. You don't get all the characters, but you can earn all your characters, and you can earn them fast enough. I would say
It's the same
Yeah,
as
but
leagues, though. You get the rotation, you get
No.
to try the characters for free, and you get to buy them if you wanted to for currency.
Yes, but here's the difference. When he's saying at a good pace, League of Legends, I would probably either have to play like 2 days straight and then maybe I can buy a champion, or if I want to be a normal human being, it'll probably take me 2 months to buy any champion because they're 16,300. I mean 16,300, 6,300. You get me? It's a lot. It's a lot. Like
yeah. So like Borderlands, you were an Epic exclusive on PC. That complicates things, buddy. Sorry, can't give it to you. Modern Warfare.
We know who's getting
Modern
it.
Warfare is cross compatible, and I've gotten to level 80 on it, which is a lot farther than I ever thought I was. And this is not even counting the single player. Like I'm continually hooked. I got people texting me in the middle of the stream like, "Hey, are you gonna get on?" So there you go. First time that's happened in a long time. And Division 2 had me for a good month, but it didn't carry me. So I can't really give that game of the year.
I was gonna give it to Call of Duty. I'm not even a Call of Duty fan, and the multiplayer on the mobile is insane.
Well, speaking of mobile, Call of Duty Mobile. I mean, mobile's the next category, and that's the theme I see. Well,
you like the transition?
So if you're not fortunate enough to have a console, but you have a mobile device, try Call of Duty Mobile. It's a really strong game. There is gotcha to it, but you don't have to experience it. You can catch our review on our page in our crew review section. I've heard great things about What the Golf as well, and there is a review from myself for Sayonara Wild Hearts also in crew review, so you can check out both of them there. That being said, I would probably just stick with Call of Duty Mobile. It has
same
the most, I guess. Sayonara Wild Hearts, you're done in 2 hours. That's it. Well, now you go listen to music later on Apple Music, but
let me tell you this: have playing all of these games except for What the Golf. 3 of these games are Apple Arcade exclusive.
Yeah, and that's impressive actually.
Being Grindstone, Sayonara Wild, and Sky.
Grindstone, I literally played for like 15 minutes. Just like
that's all you need.
Not my thing, but I can see it.
That's all you need. It's a glorified Bejeweled.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it gypped the spot from an actual good mobile game called Dragalia Lost that has an actual good story. and an actual good developer who's very nice. And even though there is gacha, they're constantly giving you free tickets. Every time new characters come out, they give you a free 10 pull. Just
Look,
cause.
you don't even have to defend gacha. Call of Duty Modern, like Call of Duty Mobile is on this list, the king of gacha. Like, you don't have to defend it.
The
Okay,
$250 gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not about what games are gacha, which one's not. It's just Grindstone does not deserve to be on this list.
It's there because it's Candy Crush. It's a new version of Candy Crush. It gets all the people that played Candy Crush to play it. Like, I'm gonna be real.
The one nice thing about those games is that they are compatible with any device that can play Apple Arcade products. So, like, your computer, your phone, or an Apple TV, you'll be able to play these games and continue the progress. It's all linked with your Game Center account. With all that being said, I'm still giving it to Call of Duty. Like, it's just that fun. It's that fun.
Well, the golf is a puzzler, by the way. It's just like you have to find a way to hit a hole in one, but under like absurd circumstances. And sometimes it's not a golf ball. Sometimes it's trying to crack an egg in a frying pan. It's that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So there is some hilarity there, but it's also like short-lived. Like, you know, Sayonara. Like, these are bite-sized experiences where Call of Duty Mobile, you could daily drive it.
Right. The only thing that Grindstone has going for it, honestly, is just the replayability. Just because the stages are random. The amount of combos that you need is a specific number, but the monsters that come out, the chains that come out at random, but it's not fun. It's not fun.
Let's rapid fire a couple of these. Independent game. Untitled Goose Game. Should we really need to say anything else? I've heard fantastic things about Outer Wilds, but I feel like everyone kept confusing it with Outer Worlds, so I'm not sure how many people actually got to play it.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass, so there's another Game Pass shout out.
Disco
Elysium keeps showing up, so maybe this is a good game. Just saying.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong with a Devolver game. But, you know, I know it's not for everybody. It's a pretty violent game too, so that might not be your thing. Untitled Goose Game is like the perfect mix, right?
I think so.
You can
It's
finish
very
it.
lighthearted, and it's a puzzler. It's nice and easy. It's a good game to play. It's comfy.
And you can speedrun it too somehow. It's amazing.
Right.
Yes.
And I mean, you play as a goose.
So clean sweep for the goose.
Yep. The goose is loose. Okay. Games for Impact.
Oh.
We both went for it. Okay, go.
No, I mean, this is a category I haven't played anything in.
Neither have I.
Grease, and Grease was a little underwhelming. I had so many expectations on it based on how beautiful the trailer was, and now I know Concrete Genie is fantastic, but it's also a VR game, so for that. And I've never been a Life is Strange fan, so unless you guys got something, I got nothing in this category.
Okay, so Life is Strange 1 was okay. It wasn't anything too crazy. It's like girl gets ability out of nowhere and then she starts using it and oh no, everything. It's basically the girl who leapt through time, except instead of having charges, she reaches a certain point where she realizes she can't go back in time. Now Life is Strange 2, I don't know much about it, but from what I understand, it's basically the same thing except you're a boy now with the abilities, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. You're gonna build up this universe of superpowered children. I get it.
Speaking of The Shining, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, I just haven't played anything in this category to justify a vote.
Okay, so game direction. So, can I make an argument here?
Go ahead.
Why isn't Luigi's Mansion 3 here?
Thank you.
I'm not even the one that played it, but I can tell you that the direction is fantastic. Like, there's a lot of times that Gio was able to think himself out of. There's some times that he needed our help, but it was never, like, horrifically hard, you know? It was like, it was just designed right.
Yeah.
And everything had a purpose. Luigi had a purpose. His weird gooey ass. He had a purpose. And your puppy had a purpose. Like, he would show up and, like, you know, help you at weird opportune times, but I saw that.
Dude, even Toad had a purpose. Like,
yeah,
when he gets lost and you have to go chase him and then you have to go get the upgrade. Like, everything had a purpose.
I just feel like it's insane that they didn't show up here. And you know who it would replace? Sekiro, because Sekiro's too damn hard. A game that should be awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation should have probably had a mode where someone could just go through the game and enjoy the story.
I don't know. I think honestly it should take Resident Evil 2, as messed up as that is. Like, it's a remake. It's a really good remake. It's a beautiful HD remake. But what's innovative? It's just a remake with some new added features, some new story like elements here and there.
No,
but it's a remake. It's a remake.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
They had to get rid of the tank controls, and they did a finding like a nice solution to all that. Like, they did have to rebuild the game. It's the same story, so like that part of it, yeah, you can't say it's going to be better than Death Stranding because of original Death Stranding is. At the same time,
but it's innovation in game design, direction and design, which yet again you have most of the legwork made for you, and you have a classic game that you're bringing back again that people already liked before. Like, this was a safe bet. Like,
yeah.
So I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, because I was actually going to recommend that The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening should have been one of these as well.
And that's a remake. But damn, it looks great. But I always give that to art direction instead of game direction. Because it is literally the same game. You know what? You have a point, though, Ari. Sekiro or Resident Evil could have just dropped off of it. But Luigi's Mansion 3 is a completely unique experience, and everything I just said. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
You know,
and Rocket League, for God's sakes, Rocket. Not kidding.
What it is that it's on a Nintendo. It's a Nintendo Switch. What it is?
No, that's bullshit though. The Nintendo Switch is popular.
Yeah, it is. This isn't the Wii U where the Wii U had no one.
Okay, hold on.
But that's why.
The Outer Wilds. No one knows who that is. No one knows who Mobius Digital is. Maybe Annapurna, because there was some titles in the past, but Mobius Digital, no one knows who they are. They do now because the game is apparently great. But to me, this is going to go to Kojima as like another, my buddy here.
Right. It's going to go to Death Stranding. But to be fair, outside of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, Nintendo only appears on one category, which you will see coming up.
So we're going to give this award to Luigi's Mansion 3?
Yes.
Agreed?
Also, they appear on multiple different categories, so you're actually wrong because Smash appears on 2 different ones. But we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, but Smash is Smash.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
Fresh indie game.
That's what I was gonna say. Smash.
Fresh
is Smash.
indie game.
Does it really count? Does Smash really count?
Look, listen here. Fresh indie game is either Slay the Spire or Untitled Goose Game.
Or fucking really Disco Elysium, because we haven't played it yet.
Yeah, but if we haven't played it yet, like, we can't really say anything.
Look, I'm happy enough that Slay the Spire got, like, Mega Crit, the studio got, like, into this. Like, they deserved it.
Yeah.
That being the case,
Slay the Spire was great.
Slay the Spire is not better than Outer Worlds or Untitled Goose Game or Disco Elysium. It's, like, the bottom half of this category. My friend Pedro looks like a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not gripped to go play it though, and it is coming to Game Pass, right?
Yep, it is.
So that's next year. I'll play that next year. This is also presented by Sony, apparently, which is I just started noticing some of the categories are sponsored. Oh my god.
Okay, so I think it's either Slay the Spire or Untitled Goose Game, right? Because I really want to jump into the next category because I gotta eliminate 2 real quick. Fighting game, Dead or Alive 6, get out of here. You have DLC that's like $300. Out. Jump Force, terrible game. I was super excited. Out. Why are they both in there? I don't know. I feel like they just put in an anime game to be like, here's an anime game. Because they didn't put Code Vein in anything. You know, an actual good game.
Well, at the same time, how many fighting games came out this year?
Didn't Street Fighter 5 come out this year?
No. Street Fighter's like 3 years old.
It was last year. Oh, I feel like it did.
So I feel like
they literally mastered themselves.
They literally made this list and they were like, "Shit, how many fighting games came out this year?"
You know who deserves it? Samurai Showdown.
They came back.
What a return to form! What a return to form! And watching Evo, watching that tournament for Samurai, it was like, ooh, this game is actually better than I thought.
It was different. It's different.
Very good game. I would give it to that, but you know, Smash is obviously going to win this category, so not even worth talking about.
Right. Hey, family friendly. And
family game, and it's all Nintendo.
That's what I'm saying. Like, outside of, I don't count Smash. I'm sorry, I don't. Outside of Legend of Zelda, they don't appear anywhere else on this freaking list. And what upsets me is that Luigi's Mansion 3 is in a category where it's gonna lose. And it's gonna lose to Super Mario Maker 2 or
no, it's
Smash.
Not.
Yes.
No, first of all,
yes.
Super Mario Maker 2 is a remake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
no, it's a part 2.
It's a remake. They just put it on another console and added more filters. It's a remake. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's not a family game. It's haterade. I would not want to play this against my mother, against my brother, against my cousin, because I would end up punching them in the face. Because I know they're going to go for Ike, and they're just going to keep spamming, and they're going to use their C-stick, they're going to do all these cheesy shits. No, fuck that game. What just happened?
And then Yoshi's Crafted Woolly World. It's like the only one that I can see.
When did that come out this year?
Came out.
Time out. Can we just talk about how the picture looks like
No.
two Yoshis butt fucking each other? Like
no.
That's a little vulgar.
It's family friendly. We can't use curse words, guys.
You're right.
So
it's one Yoshi giving a sausage to another.
Okay, no. So the one, honestly, I feel bad for Luigi because Luigi, I love it and I want it to win a category, and this is the only category it's in. I'm gonna be honest, Yoshi's Crafted World is like the only one I can see a family playing together.
Ring Fit Adventure? Are you kidding me? I was playing that with my girlfriend here, and I was sweaty and gasping for air after stage 1. How is that family friendly? I'm gonna just sweat all over my family. Oh, it's your turn. Here, take my soaking wet wheel that has to dry for the next 3 hours.
Here you go, Grandma.
Family. You don't want to exercise with your family around. Who goes to you go to the gym with your mom? No.
All right. Moving on. I don't think we should talk about any esports things, mostly because me and Gio do not care in the slightest. Although I know we have someone that does. Migs, pick your category. Which one do you really need to talk about?
None of these teams are Rocket League teams. And if I were to pick an esports team, it would go to the Peeps for the upset I had spoke about earlier. Therefore, fuck esports team category. Fuck esports player category. Fuck the host especially, because they should have gave it to Jeff Robinson, who passed away and was a very important member of the community in StarCraft, amongst other things. So I don't get why they just wouldn't just do that. You know, this is cool that they give recognition to esports players and stuff like that, but you kind of know what's going to happen. They're going to give it to the 16-year-old at Fortnite because that's a major upset. And then for the commentators, I mean, pick your poison. It depends on who you watch or what you watch.
Right. Like, half the reason you watch that is not just for the sports, it's for the person commentating. Because one is really gravitate to that person.
To me, I know it's like a body of work thing for Jeff, but he was a really important and he still is. Like, people are still carrying his channel. That's how important he was. So I don't get it. He's essentially the total biscuit of, StarCraft. And unfortunately, we lost both of them recently. It sucks. But that's all I wanted to say about that. Esports Game of the Year. I hate all these games. League of Legends, I understand the popularity of it. So Fortnite, I just don't like building buildings, guys. It's just my thing. I think it's cowardice.
Should we give it to Rocket League then?
Give it to Rocket League. Why does Overwatch pop up here, by the way? What has Overwatch done that's any different than last year or the year before? Have they added game modes?
No, because you see, the thing is that there's competitive capture the flag.
Oh, get out of here. Sorry,
All
I
right,
had to say
so skipping all the way to
all the esports stuff.
community sports or community
Final
support.
Planet.
Even esports coach. Sorry, if a team that didn't exist last year won a tournament, you would give it to the coach of that team. Where is the guy from Team Peeps? Come on. Like, it's stupid. Content creator of the year, we're gonna be there like next year or 2 years, so just pass that
Oh
one.
no, shut up.
We're coming for you, Shroud. Look at that face.
No, we're not. No.
He just featured in Linus. He's so likable.
Oh my
He's
god!
all
I
these
see
guys are so likable.
like me and Migs are just like barking dogs, and Ariana's there like,
Arr,
no,
arr,
just
arr.
stop,
Arr.
please, we're going home.
Okay, community support. There's no need to go
Wow.
through this one. Literally, it's Final Fantasy
Yeah,
14.
it's
We
gonna be
decided
Final
this earlier.
Fantasy. It's gonna be Final
Audio
Fantasy.
design.
Look,
Where's
don't-
Code
don't be-
Vein?
Don't be surprised if Bungie steals that one from community support.
Oh, of course.
Just
If
for the
I see
fact that
4,
they separate from Activision means a lot to the community.
I mean,
no,
the
I
fact,
know.
the
But
fact that
honestly,
they
I see
separated,
Fortnite on there, and I'm like, Fortnite's probably gonna win because it's a worldwide sensation and it's the next extreme.
it's a worldwide sensation. But the
Audio
community
design
support sucks.
should go to Modern Warfare.
Code
And
Vein should be here.
Audio design should go to Luigi's Mansion.
Code Vein.
for the Guigi ASMR. He has a point actually. Look, and like I said before, there are certain things about audio design where the fact is like when I played Gears 5 in the beta and online the first couple of weeks after launch, I couldn't tell where people were coming from. It was just a shit storm of like sounds, and I didn't know what the hell was happening. With Resident Evil, I mean, like you said, it's a remake, so do they have to do much there? No, they just have to HD
Remake
the sounds,
the classic score. They just have to bring that favorite track, the basement
right?
track. Exactly. Bring that back in HD. Go.
And since this is completely different from like soundtrack stuff that we talked about already, because it was a previous category for it, I can tell where everyone is in Modern Warfare because of this damn headset. And it's not because of this headset, it's because of the sound design. And I should have saw it coming because of how good even like the mobile version of it was. And playing like this and being able to hear sound on both sides and like just turn around, there's proof of it. In the one battle royale I played where I won, because I literally heard the last guy come in like tip tapping across my left. And Modern Warfare continues that trend of like just superior sound design. Also, it is super frightening when you're just running through something and a sniper fires and there's no silencer on it, and you just hear like it feels like an explosion in your ear, depending on the direction. It's frightening, man. Also, the the single player mode, there is good tracks and stuff like that as well. Nothing is overpowering, you know.
Do you know what game I'm actually surprised is not on this audio design list? Star Wars.
You know what? I would say that that best soundtrack deserves to see Star Wars there. For all the little like flutters and flutes and stuff when you're not really doing much, and how it escalates when you get into a battle. That's really, really good design.
Well, that's why I was saying audio design, because
yeah,
really,
there is that.
Like it adds to the moment.
Look. You guys can say all that you want. It's great. It's fantastic. Gears should, because it's on here, should win it. But I'm still pissed that Code Vein did not get nominated. Code Vein brings up and down instruments for each memory, for each character to like, hey, this dude's really evil. Let's bring up that cello. So you get the feeling, you feel it. You feel that man's just scum. Just scum the second you start looking at his memories. You put, a little bit of harp in this one, you just feel the sadness immediately. You start walking down that little hallway and you're like, I'm gonna cry. And you do it. And they didn't even get nominated. I'm pissed.
And I remember watching you go through sequences saying, I'm right. Like, oh no. Okay.
That was all music. Go.
So, art direction, presented by Samsung QLED. Can we just all agree Legend of Zelda?
I say Zelda.
It's outstanding, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If Sayonara Wild Hearts gameplay didn't piss me off so much, I would give it a nod, man. And don't be surprised if it sneaks it. And in Death Stranding, don't be surprised either, because like you're talking about outstanding creative, like that's pretty much Death Stranding. Whenever you look at it, it's like black tears running down people's faces and metallic faces, and the backdrops of mountains in the distance, and the way the water flows in the river. It's like everything there is pretty and outstanding, and not to mention the design of these monsters, right? Like, or the muddy hands in the ground pulling you down. Like, there's so much to appreciate about that, you know. And then, not to mention that technically none of that stuff breaks the game. It's not like the hands drag you through, you glitch through the whole world like you do in some games, right? That stuff will be the stuff you expect, but you don't ever see it. So maybe consider Death Stranding.
Really quick, Sekiro does deserve some praise in art direction. Like, I understand that the game is really hard and people don't get that far to see it, but there are some areas that are absolutely fantastic. I don't know the exact name because I haven't gone there myself, but there's like an area that's called like the Garden of like Heaven or the Garden of Paradise, and it's insanely pretty, and the boss fight there is just an insane artwork piece. And there's tons of other areas too that are really good. The problem is that most people like me get stuck right at the beginning, and you get stuck on that snow-capped mountain. You don't see anything else. You don't get to see any of the other good art design that Sekiro has to offer. I think it at least deserves a nod, and I'm glad that it got nominated. I was going to say notivated.
I'm glad it got the nod, and it's one of the few games that actually got... I feel like this took a hit specifically because of Ghost of Tsushima and all the trailers that came out from that. Because talk about art direction. Wow. That game makes Samurai look so good. And I think it takes away from Sekiro a little bit on since Samurai genre and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, action adventure game. Now we're actually getting into the final stuff here. So, 3 more to go, guys. Action adventure game.
Honestly, Sekiro. Like,
well, that's...
Where's Code Vein?
Actually, yeah.
Where is it?
And by the way, action adventure game. Where the is Star Wars? Really? Star Wars gonna crack this top 6?
I said that earlier. Dude, Star Wars is nowhere on this list.
Where's the cutoff date, by the way? Because now we're seeing all over the place, we're seeing Smash. Obviously, Smash came out the day before the Game Awards last year. So is the cutoff such to the point that Star Wars is for next year now? Or because that's something that they don't really clarify on this list, like when the cutoff was.
Right.
And I really hope they come back next year because they deserve a nod in a couple categories, but I digress.
Mm-hmm.
If what we have to pick from here, best action adventure game. And it sucks because Borderlands I'm not going to play because...
Epic.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be real with you. Death Stranding, action adventure. Adventure, yes. Action?
If you consider the 10 hours of walking without trying to fall.
Bro,
action?
You don't like playing Mailman?
I really want Maddie here to fight us back on these.
Resident Evil, like, the problem is that you're in a house. You're not really adventuring. Like, it's classic Resident Evil. It's a great game. But you're not adventuring. You're not out and, like, about. That's, to me, what kind of adventuring is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zelda or Sekiro, I would be happy if either one took it. I honestly think Sekiro because it's a stronger action game. But either one, be happy. That's me.
Yeah, I would be happy with either The Legend of Zelda or Sekiro. I kind of feel bad for Control because I haven't played it and it's appeared in a couple of categories now.
By the way, you know what makes this more confusing? Scroll up one. Best action game.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm confused. Because what the hell differentiates Borderlands from Gears 5 or Modern Warfare?
Well, according to the description, action adventure is a combination of combat and puzzle solving.
Yeah, so Astral Chain fits more of an action adventure game, doesn't it?
Yep. From what we played, definitely.
I guess so.
And
Definitely.
if that was down here, I would just say the Astral Chain. Now it's up here in action category against Metro Exodus, which can fuck off because honestly, so many bugs. So many bugs. And don't tell me it was on PC only because I've seen screen. Just no. No.
Devil May Cry 5 is such a strong action game. Those combos, the way you can switch between all your weapons, it's so polished that, like, even though Gears 5 is a good game, Call of Duty is a good game, Astral Chain's a good game, Apex is a good game, action is the one place it excels, and this is the one place that it should win.
No, yeah, it's literally
Honestly,
built for this
I
category.
agree. Like this, the freaking dude has a combo where he's literally throwing motorcycles at the enemy. Like if that doesn't scream action, like I don't know what does.
Dante splits his motorcycle into two swords, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah. So
Ridiculous.
go look up any combo video. Look up anybody clearing Bloody Palace. Like, holy crap!
Bloody Palace looks insane. I'm scared to even try it.
Like,
it looks like so much.
It's insane. Like, it honestly, it should sweep. It should really sweep, and I hope it does. I know it's not. I hope it does.
Look, I want it to win, but I think we all know who's gonna win this one. It's gonna be Call of Duty.
Say that again.
I really want Devil May Cry to win this category, but we all know it's gonna be Call of Duty.
I hope not, because this is also one of those weird reboot situations, and it's still a Call of Duty game. I appreciate it because it's Captain Price and he's back again, and he makes all these, really nice animations with his face, and he smiles. You got this? You got this? Yeah. Like it. That doesn't mean the game was over and above the best thing I ever played. I would say that they're third place in this category behind Devil May Cry 5 and Astral Chain. Gears 5 is worse than Modern Warfare because they continue to push the Kate element, and I'm not a fan of that. I want to go back to Marcus, and I just kind of want to finish the co so everyone can see it finally, but like I have beaten the game on my end. And I'm just like, oh, it was disappointing. It was better than 4. But 4 was a low bar.
Yeah.
And Apex, what are you even doing in this category, Apex?
Go home, you're drunk.
Go back to your ongoing category.
I think based off of the conversations that we've had so far, it's all come down to Game of the Year, and it couldn't be more polarizing.
Do you want me to start? Because mine will probably end up being quick. So, Control, never played it. Death Stranding. I'm sorry, it's an art piece game. I don't think that it deserves Game of the Year because it's not best in all fields. It's just not. It lacks in a lot of areas, and it's a game that's very... You have to be in the right mindset. You have to be the right person. You have to be willing to give it a shot. You have to be willing to deep dive. Resident Evil 2 is an extremely good game. I cannot overstate that enough. But, I don't know. It's a game...
It's a remake at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a game I've played before. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I'm sorry. Where's your story? Because if you're saying...
I'm sorry to cut you off, but Smash should have been in multiplayer game.
It should have.
It should have.
Not Game of the Year.
And
because, by the way, if you take the sum of its parts, that single-player campaign is trash.
Yeah, it's shit. It's shit.
The moment they okie dokie you into that dark world, I stopped playing because I was like, "You're full of shit. I don't want to do this anymore."
Let me put it this.
I would have preferred this in the category of either ongoing game, multiplayer, and remove it for fucking family friendly. Like, it's not a family game. I'm sorry.
I would punch my mom if we were playing Smash.
just because it's on a Nintendo Switch console does not mean that it's just a family game.
Punch her with love, guys. Jesus Christ.
And FYI, everything in that category was just Nintendo. Everything in the family category was Nintendo.
We
I-
know we said it before.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
So what I was gonna say really quick, Smash, the sum of your parts, like you said, doesn't add up. It's supposed to be for like the absolute best in all fields. Its story mode sucks. It's terrible. Why are you here? So the choice for me comes down between Sekiro and the Outer Worlds, in all honesty, because everything I saw about Outer Worlds looked really good. And Sekiro, yet again, haven't been able to beat it, but I've seen a lot of it, and it looks really, really good, and it looks really interesting. It's just I wish I had the skill to play you, type of deal.
Yeah, and as opposed to the Outer Worlds where I beat it and it got really easy at the end. And the thing I don't want to fault Obsidian for is that they did put in things like mechanics like, hey, you're beating up a whole bunch of robots. So you want to take this perk? It's called Robot Phobia. Now you get these debuffs, but we're going to give you a perk point on the back end to make up for it. It didn't work. It just didn't work. And they push you to the dialogue because the dialogue is so strong. But for that reason, there's someone who beat the game in 12 minutes using dialogue options. There's a speed run. IGN posted it. It's depressing because you don't actually get to see anything. It's really depressing. Like the game is not meant to be enjoyed that way. Speed run.
But isn't there something to be said about that though? Because if you feel so passionately about someone not playing a game for more than 12 minutes and being missed out on a bunch of like story content and things that they shouldn't get to do, like
just the fact that they missed out on something like the conversation I had with Body in the bar. That's like deal breaking for me.
But I think
You shouldn't play the game like that.
Like, but there's something to be said about that. Like, I feel like that's why it's on the Game of the Year. Like, I was actually gonna give it to the Outer Worlds because, like, watching you play that game reminded me of like old school Fallout. It reminded me of BioShock. Like,
yeah, I just feel like the thing that it felt too much like that too. And the nostalgia glass is off. Like, that's a problem because I still can't see shit. You get what I'm saying? like once I put the glasses back on, it's like, oh, now I got these glasses on my head and fit. Maybe they hurt because I'm wearing the headset. There's all these little things that come up, which are still flaws in current Fallouts and stuff. There are flaws in this game that they didn't quite fix. You know what I'm saying? So when Ari mentions talking about delivering an absolute best across all creative and technical fields, you know.
Mm-hmm.
but looking at the list here, like I'm sorry, but I can't give it to Death Stranding. I can't. I haven't played Control, so I'm not giving it to Smash. So it's between Outer Worlds and Sekiro for me.
I mean, don't be surprised if Control wins this, and we're gonna play it by December 13th when the awards come out, or 12th. So we're gonna have a better opinion about that. We can revisit it, and we gotta revisit this anyway. Brian and Maddie certainly have their opinions on this stuff. So next episode, we're probably gonna revisit some of these categories at least get their snubs, what they thought was like a massive snub, or how full of shit they think I am about Rocket League. But yeah, I mean, let's leave it here. I mean, I would give it to either Sekiro or the Outer Worlds, but because I did play Outer Worlds, I'll give it the Outer Worlds. Sekiro, the difficulty turned a lot of people off, and I can't ignore that. Where Outer Worlds, maybe you can take that difficulty to get the right experience out of it.
Right.
And Outer Worlds even has a flexibility where you don't have to take partners and stuff. Where Sekiro doesn't seem like it didn't really matter how many little tools and gadgets you had. There, that parry window was so precise it killed a lot of people's experience in it. So
the thing is, it's like, okay, like, not to keep this going, just really quick, it's like Sekiro feels like one of those games where it's like you have to really invest time and really become good at to actually get through it, and I can respect that. And that's why, like, for me, it comes down to those two, even though Sekiro, I admit, it's really freaking hard. Like, it's really hard.
Yeah, I think, like, I take back what I feel about, like, something like Monster Hunter, where you equally have to put enough time to master a weapon, like the Insect Glaive.
Mhm.
I didn't really figure that weapon out until fighting Magdaros.
Mhm.
Only a couple dozen hours into the game, and then it took off from there. Aspect of it. And I found another thing where I could like throw my insect in the middle of fighting, and that kind of unlocked a whole nother thing. And I only mastered it by the end of the original campaign. So, but I could get by still, you know. I could achieve my objective of winning a fight. But Sekiro feels very strict, where it's like you have to try to overcome this punishment that might not be overcomeable. Like, if that's even a word. The same reason why Jim Sterling would cut his difficulty off in Jedi. The same reason why I'm going to. Because some of this shit's just not enjoyable. And if you're telling me it's 0 or 100, then yeah, at least give me a 50 somewhere updated to give me a 50. Just reduce damage or something, or make my timings better, or something like that. The one thing I'll give the Outer Worlds like the most credit for is Sekiro. You're kind of stuck with this weapon design, right? Sword, and you have attachments around it, like the hat, shield, shit like that. Outer Worlds, you can play however you want. I've seen people play melee builds. I've seen people play sniper builds, and they're all viable. You know, and there's even pacifist builds where you just don't enter into a fight; you just talk your way over. And I think that type of stuff deserves more credit than that strictness.
It's basically like the two, and just on Wanda here. Okay, I'm being serious. So Wanda here. It's basically the two choices are a very strict, high learning curve game, or a more open, possibly a little bit more welcoming game. Those are your two choices at the end of the day. But go.
And for that reason, we are creating a new award called Hardcore Game of the Year.
Oh
and
my
Sekiro
God.
wins Hardcore Game of the Year. Round of applause for Sekiro. I mean, why not, right? Why not have a Hardcore Game of the Year category then? Because it makes sense for stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Resident Evil 2 could all of a sudden fit into that category and maybe be more.
Jedi Fallen Order on max difficulty.
Yeah. Sayonara Fallen Hearts.
I think even with the difficulty curve on learning a character in Smash, considering all the variety and learning matchups, who you're going to be weak and strong against, that's really a hardcore aspect of it. It also doesn't deserve to be Game of the Year. It's a multiplayer thing. To me, Smash lives and dies by. So why recognize it for Game of the Year if it's only a multiplayer game, first and foremost?
Right.
All right. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
We've covered everything we needed to cover, and
We
then
talked
some.
a whole lot. I'm actually shocked.
My throat hurts.
Yeah, my thing hurts too. Like, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Guys, if you liked what you saw or if you liked what you heard, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing and following on our Twitter, our YouTube, and our Facebook page that are all been linked throughout the entire video.
Yeah, and please comment on any like categories you thought should be there or snubs, anything like that. We can advance that conversation this episode.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're trying to focus on too is to have more conversations with you guys. So we're including a stream chat in every single one of our streams from now on, so that way we can, try to have more conversations with you guys, and it just makes things a little more enjoyable for us too. Thanks for those of you that stuck along. With that being said, enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and we'll see you next week for the next episode of the podcast. Tune in tomorrow to watch Miguel stream the next part of Jedi. Bye-bye.
May the Force be with you.
Protect Baby Yoda.
No.
It's not Yoda, damn it.
The Mandalorian sucks.